be shite. Let me start YouTube so I can hear it. Waiting for YouTube to start the stream. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, it's good. We have good audio. Good. Everything is good. All right. So, how are you feeling?
Uh, like giving up.
Like giving up?
Yeah.
Okay. Did anything happen to to make you feel that way? Something happened in your life?
I think. Yeah, I think I've finally realised the point of living. I think I'm just more in tune with how things actually are
Wait, but
instead of being delusional.
did anything happen from the time we last spoke until now?
Yeah, I think the experience of realising how bad things are is what happened.
What do you mean? But so nothing happened in nothing. You didn't experience anything. You just thought.
I still experienced pain
Oh,
from using reason about how bad things are.
mm, I see. So nothing happened in your life. Is your would you say your life is okay? Everything in your life is okay?
It's not clear what you mean in my life. If I'm using reason, that's part of my life. Do you mean like I don't really know what you mean?
So the most important thing in life, I think, is maybe let's start with eating. So you need to eat well. After that, you need to have shelter. So you need to have a nice, comfortable place to live that you love coming home to.
Hmm.
And after that, you need to have maybe a social environment. Like if you want to interact with people, you have people to interact with, friends, family.
Oh, okay, I see. Well, I don't have like social interactions,
It's
so
only
I guess I'm
no,
deprived there.
no. It's only if you need it. Like if you need it, it's like you don't want to eat if you're not hungry. If you eat when you're not hungry, that's unhealthy. And if you're at home, like and you don't want to be at home, you want to be outside, then it's not healthy to stay at home. So and if you're with friends but really you don't want to be with them, so it's unhealthy. If you're with your family and you don't want to be with them, that's like I don't know if it's unhealthy, just it's not optimal. Like you should try and live an optimal life.
Hmm.
And the last step is a romantic attachment if you need it, if you want it, if you want romance in your life, then that's the last thing. But it might be the most important if you're able to find true love. um
I'm very skeptical that true love actually exists.
well, okay, it's completely scientific to be skeptical of anything, but like anything in science, you need to run the experiment. And in my experience, when I ran this experiment, I found true love. I messed it up each time. That's but I did find like a few women that I really loved, and I feel that I made a big mistake how I treated them and stuff like that.
That don't you think that tends to happen when you're in a relationship? Either you mess up or they mess up.
Yeah, so that's why you need to, you know, But that's like any other relationship. I mean, you need to figure it out. You need to realize what you really want. That you know, it's not. Maybe sometimes you want to be alone, so you need to have the ability to be alone. It's a relationship. It's if there's too much together, it's not healthy. By the way, you're tapping your mic.
Okay, I just finished. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but this friendship, uh, romance stuff. It's very, it's overly complicated, and I think if you are aware of how bad people actually are, trying to find people who you care about and stick around with is very hard.
Right. So I agree that some people are are toxic for you. Like for each person, there's different chemistries with other people. Like you might find someone that you love that other like somebody else doesn't like, and vice versa. It could happen. Usually, a person that is liked and everyone likes them. Usually, it's like. But I would say that it's possible for you to learn um, to manipulate people so that they behave that they are nicer. So it's possible to take someone that loves you and make them hate you. You can that's actually it's doable. And you can take someone that loves you and keep that love going. You just need to know what to do, what not to do. So it is possible, I think.
You just need to work really hard.
That's no. If it takes a lot of energy, then that's not optimal. You want your life to be in easy mode, and you want to be able to be free in life as much as possible, like to
It
grow.
seems like a contradiction in terms.
No, well,
Life, the meaning of life is to work really hard and pay bills.
no, that's not the meaning of life.
Sure, it is.
I would okay. I mean, look, like everything else, the meaning of life is just a word, and you define what that word means, and what the purpose of your life is whatever you decide your purpose of your life is. It's up to you.
But you can't escape the economic, uh, like rope tied around you know, around your body, compelling you to work against your will, and it's just to stay alive.
Ye-
Paying for water, paying for sustenance just to stay alive. You don't have a choice but to do this.
Okay, so just like any other scientific experiment, you should be open minded. You should be skeptical of that statement. Maybe it's true, maybe it's false.
It's true.
But you have to be open minded. If you want to be a scientist, if you want to be scientific about it, then you need to keep an open mind. And you need to look at the evidence. But
Yeah.
you would agree that there are some people who are not bothered with the water bill. Right? You're aware of the fact that such people exist.
No.
No.
No. These aren't people. These are NPC. These are people who are not aware of how bad the situation is. They're just not intelligent enough. They're like subpar human beings. So I don't put them under the category of people with a big P.
Wait. Uh why would you do that? Why are you assuming so much? Someone who has a positive balance in their bank account and it's always growing and they're just covering all their bills, and their wealth is growing. You think they are necessarily unintelligent?
Well, I didn't. You put a bit of nuance into what you were saying. I thought you just meant like an average guy who doesn't care that, oh, my shower's broken, now I have to pay £500 just to fix it. I thought you were talking about somebody like this who can't afford it but doesn't care to pay the money.
Look, you're living in Europe. Europe has always been poor compared, for example, to the United States. The average quality of life in Europe is, I think, is like one half that of the U.S. on average. Like
But
like if you
yeah,
what?
I think if you look on the best quality of living, you're gonna find European countries at the top of the list. Sweden, Iceland, Denmark, all those countries, Scandinavia.
I looked at it just the other day. I had a conversation with an economist, and we compared Europe to the U.S. The conclusion was that Europe, like even the wealthiest European countries, they have half the quality of life on average compared to average US. I can go through this again. I'm pretty sure even like the wealthiest. I think we look at Norway or something. There's no, I mean,
Yeah, Norway. Yeah,
yeah, it's half the quality of life compared to US. Just average person Norway, average person US. The it's just double the quality of life. I can look at it again. Let me check.
yeah. I don't know
Mhm.
what those words mean. Average. So I don't know if it has a thing to do with the amount of people in the countries.
No,
But if you type best quality of living, you're gonna find Norway, Sweden. So I don't know if this guy's like a cliche American who doesn't know anything, but I don't know.
I think he was a European. Um,
Oh, okay.
but it doesn't matter. I mean, economics is, it doesn't matter where you're from. You look at the stats. We looked up just Google. So let me check.
But
Mhm.
even America is like the worst country in the world. So there's a lot of people in this country as well who know the real, who know how bad things actually are,
Wait,
and they aren't. Go ahead.
wait. One second. Okay. Let's compare Britain because you're British. Let's just compare
Uh,
Britain. I don't know how to average quality of life. Average quality.
what difference does it make? Like, if my country's like, and it's not even clear to me. Like, Britain's better than America, anyways. But what difference does it make if my country has a really bad standard of living?
It it
Like,
it 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 influences your life when you say that your life is, that you have to pay bills. That's what it means. That is, at the end of the day, that there are economic metrics, like scientific metrics, to measure how you feel about everything. You're not the first person to question life and question quality of life and talk about bills. You're not even the second, not even the third. So people have been studying this scientifically, and it's called economics. It's a scientific endeavor. Economists, they employ all the tools that we learn from science, like the same tools that physicists and mathematicians and any other science uses, is also used in economics. And the whole science is geared toward exactly what you're saying about that feeling that you have.
so am I like unjustified for thinking life sucks if my country has a low standard of living?
What? Wait, what did you say? Repeat.
Well, are you trying to prove I'm unjustified that life sucks, or is
No,
that what you're trying to find the standard of living in the UK?
I'm just the opposite. I'm completely justifying how you feel. But I'm saying there is a scientific justification. It's not without reason. UK compared to the US is probably maybe even a third. I mean, UK actually it's pretty wealthy, but let me see. I don't know how to share this with you. It's always difficult to share on Discord. Let me try and share the OECD. Have you ever heard of the OECD?
But, yeah, but I forgot what it means.
It's
Oh,
just
yeah, overall economic, so whatever. I don't know.
well, the OECD. Let me see. Yeah, it's not. It's not. I can't share it on Discord because it's saving resources. It's saving the resources. Your stream, but it's saving your
Uh-uh.
resources. I'm so glad that Discord is saving my resources for another day. This is why you see this is exactly quality of life. See, because Discord is saving or who knows what.
It does make me laugh though that you'd say something like America has a higher standard of living
It's just a
than
scientific.
Sweden. So that's definitely not true.
Well, maybe I'm
That's blatantly false.
we can look into it. I mean, I think both are. I mean, the U.S. and the U.K. and Sweden are all in the OECD. So the OECD is just a bunch. I mean, let's look at what is the OECD. But I can't share. I don't know how to do this. If I have to
It
switch back.
probably wants to put like billionaires into the equation, and as far as I'm aware, there's more billionaires in America and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean that part of science is to understand that there's something called the measurement problem and the uncertainty principle. There's always an uncertainty principle in every or error bars in every scientific endeavor. You just need to be aware of it and you can quantify it and you can realize and stuff like that. So yeah, of course we're aware of the inequality. And in the discussion I had with that guy with the economists, we looked at the Gini coefficient, which measures inequality. So the U.S. was, I think, one third richer, but one third less equal. But what does it mean? What does it mean to you? So if you're a dummy dum dum and you come to the US, maybe you're going to be poor. But I don't think you're a dummy dum dum. I think you're a smart guy. I think in the US you'll do very well, very easily. You'll be very wealthy compared to the average. You'll be above average. So you're not going to care so much for the Gini inequality coefficient. So for smart people, the US is great. For dumb people, unproductive people, people that rely on welfare, the US is terrible. And Europe is great.
Okay.
So, it depends what you want to be. Do you want to get up in the morning, go to work, make a lot of money, and have a lot of free time, balance your life, but still do you want to work hard and play hard, or do you want to be a lazy bum? If you want to be a lazy bum, yeah, Europe is better. If you want to be a hard worker,
Oh,
what?
okay. I'm on that site you're talking about, OECD. Interesting. Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, so I don't know. I just don't know how to share it without losing without dummy dum dum the sharing feature. I don't know. I think it's who is responsible for this sharing feature, because I it's not YouTube and it's not Discord. It's like it's available from anywhere. I don't know who gives me this feature, but it refuses to share. Let me see. Yeah, 1 second. Let me just reply to a text message.
Yeah, America life satisfaction is lower than Sweden.
One second.
It should be obvious.
Um, that. One second. Let me just answer to another message. Okay. Um, and we need to look at each measurement, each metric, each thing that they're measuring. I need to look at it because I'm not satisfied with that. So if I went to live in Sweden, I don't know if I would agree with the way they measure it. We'll need to look into how they measure it. But I see it's impossible for me to share it. I'm just not going to be able to share it. Oh my God, people are not going to leave me alone. Alone. Oh, you're sharing something?
I was clicking on your sharing.
Yeah, it's hopeless. Uh,
Uh-oh.
One second.
Here comes trouble.
One second. Uh, okay, so let me see. I wish I could just share it. I don't know what to do with the share. I gave up on sharing a long time ago. I just gave up on it. And you know, when we did the last stream that we did, we were sharing YouTube. It didn't share the
Uh-oh.
audio. It shared the video, but not the audio.
Right.
So
So, how do you get the audio?
what?
How do you add the audio?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like usually, what people do is like I can tell Stream StreamYard. I might be able to tell StreamYard. I don't know. At this point, I don't know. That's why people don't use like people use OBS for properly sharing streams. Anyway, um okay, let me just find something interesting and then I'll just show the screen. So, what do we
So it's not. To be fair,
have?
I wouldn't really be able to refute these with like solid argumentation because this is all new to me. So I don't read up on this. So
Okay, but we can
you can.
no, no, it's fine. We can look. The point is the way I see it, I completely understand you. You're a young man. So for you, relative to everyone else, you're basically experiencing the most challenge at your age and place. Even in the US, you'd be more challenged than normal people. Let's say a girl your age would have a much better time in life at this point because chicks at your age, everyone wants to bang them. So they're showered with love and with opportunities. They get invited and they have friends and a social life and everything they want they have. And men at your age have nothing. Like society, basically you haven't proven who you are to society for. So, society doesn't respect you yet. But in time, you will grow and you will prove yourself as a man, usually by making money, and then you'll have a more comfortable life. Like a girl at your age can basically go live with anyone. Basically, like a normal chick, she can pick and choose, and she can go live with anyone, and you know her life is and a lot of her expenses would be paid for by men. So, so
Yeah, I agree. To be a woman or girl is extremely easy because you have it all cut out for you.
yeah,
It's like a free lunch, and you're working. You're like prospering off the backs of men who actually contribute and do stuff for society and the world, while you just reap the reward from men who actually put in the shift to put food on the table and actually make your life better. And then they also get the like a special. They can wear a badge of virtue signaling. Oh, look at me! I'm a woman. You have to treat me with respect. You have to do all of this for me. Even though you're doing so much for them, you have to do all of this for the women. Like, it's just not hard at all.
So you can look at it like that, or you can be like me, and I enjoy taking care of women. For me, it's a privilege to have a woman in my life that I can take care of and I can love and pay for her and enjoy her presence. So you live in a house and you pay for it. Some one way or the other, you're gonna pay for the house. You eat food one way or the other, you're gonna pay for it. So for everything in life, you have to pay. A woman is one of those things in life you have to pay for, one way or the other. So a woman is just a luxury in life. So you can compare yourself to a woman and say all those things, or you can just face reality. Women are a luxury good, as we call them in economics, and it's going to cost you to get one or to get a few of them and stuff like that. Not only is it going to cost you, it's also not so simple. Even if you have the means, it's not going to be easy to get them because most women wouldn't know that you have money. Like imagine you were a billionaire right now. So do you think women would just know it and flock to you?
Mm, if you're like 6 feet to extremely attractive, like I don't know, Brad Pitt or something,
No,
you know,
no, that
whatever example you want.
it's a
And it's, you
misconception.
probably
Women don't approach men. Period. That almost never happens. And women who approach men, I think men are not usually men don't like these women. It's like, but it's not socially acceptable. Women don't approach men. Women, you have to learn how to approach women, even if you're a multi-billionaire. I mean,
I
look
was I was I was approached yesterday.
what
I was approached on yesterday. Was it yesterday or Thursday? What is it? Friday?
you
On
were
Friday.
you were approached by a girl.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 1 second. I'm being rained upon by messages.
Uh,
I'm being asked a negative question. How do you respond to a negative question?
Depends what the question is.
It doesn't matter. There's no way to respond. You're always gonna give a confusing answer. You can't say yes. You can't say no. You can't. Everything. Every way. It's like who asks negative questions? Only someone who wants to annoy you. Terrible.
Hey yo, hey
So
yo.
you're
They're like,
oh,
go
you're
ahead.
singing.
No,
You weren't singing?
no.
What we okay. Anyway, so you were approached yesterday
Uh-huh.
by,
No, Friday.
by a chick?
Yeah,
Was she pretty?
yeah,
So, did you take her number?
yeah. She actually asked for mine.
So what do you want? So you should be happier than always.
Don't know. He wasn't. He's a bit complicated, I guess.
Okay. You don't want to
I
talk.
don't know how to. I didn't know how to read what her intentions actually were.
So that's not how it works. So first lesson with people, you don't care about the universe. It's all about you. So you're going to dictate gently but affirmatively. You're going to be very forthcoming, very straightforward, very transparent, just like you are with me. Like you, before you were busy, so you said, I'm busy, we can talk later. So that's how you are with everyone. Just you can be as gentle as you want. If it's a chick, you want to be gentle, but you want to be informative and straightforward. So there's no such thing as I don't know how to talk to a girl. You need, so the first lesson, if you ask a girl how to get girls, every girl would just tell you three words, just or four words, just be, or three words, just be yourself. That's the most difficult, but the most correct and the ultimate, I would say, maybe purpose in life. Know who you are and be, and just one second, I keep. Um, Let me just tell them I'm going to return. One second. One message down. Another one. Okay, we're done. Anyway, so look, you cannot be. It's okay to be a little bit hesitant when you talk to anyone, especially with a girl, because it's difficult. More difficult to get a girl, but it's not easy to get guy friends, right? You want to build a relationship with guy friends and girlfriends and family, so you have to be gentle and careful with anyone. You have to think before you talk always, and you have to be. By the way, you keep touching your mic. Are you aware of that?
No, sorry. I'm using my phone.
That's okay, but just be available to talk whenever you want. Anyway, so no, but I want your feedback. I want to know if you're following, if you agree with my advice, if you're following what I'm saying. This is really important for happiness, because happiness is being yourself, and the chick's advice, just be yourself, is crucial for happiness. She doesn't want you to be somebody else in order to be with her. That's not going to make you happy. So her advice is be yourself. There's no point in being somebody else. You're not going to be happy.
Maybe yeah, but maybe we're just projecting. Maybe she doesn't want to be with me. This is my supposition because I told her stuff which she probably didn't appreciate, but only wanted to know me and stuff. She seemed like a good person.
Wait, she seemed like a good person?
No, I told her stuff which I'm thinking that the only reason she took my number and was so quote unquote into me was she wanted to do the right thing instead of forming a relationship with me. So I told her I'm like suicidal. So maybe she's like, oh, I should get his number just to make sure he's okay.
Look,
Stuff like that.
so here's the thing. If you are honestly suicidal, then the be yourself works. Then that is who you are. You can't,
Uh-huh.
if you are really suicidal, then fine, so be it. Then maybe you'll find a chick that is into guys who are suicidal. And that is what turns her on. And every time you would say I'm suicidal, she would love you more. So you will be yourself, and she will love you for being yourself and for being exactly what she appreciates. You never know.
How do you find people like this?
You So that's big number theory. You just go through a lot of chicks, and you go to you can go work at a suicide helpline, and maybe you'll find other people and chicks who are into that. I don't know. I My God.
Don't you think?
Hmm. I'm sorry. I'm just
Don't
getting
you
so
think
many
there's
messages. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
don't you think there's like human intimacy is challenging?
Yes.
Like it's very like it's like the closer you get to somebody, the more hurtful and harm is given to you.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. If you,
Yes or no?
it's I don't know if it's a yes or no. I mean, if you,
If you don't form bonds when there's nobody else to hurt you, you only have yourself to blame. But when you form bonds and intimate with people, it seems like when you do mess up on their end or yours, the hurt you will experience is going to be 10 times worse.
I don't I don't know. Okay, it could be, but you should know that it's always fixable. Anything you do or say to ruin a relationship, it's always fixable. Like every chick that I messed up with, I didn't mess up once. I messed up many times until I
What do you mean messed up?
basically I dumped a chick that I should not have dumped, like a perfect runway model. Then she loved me like crazy, and I was an asshole when I was young. I didn't appreciate anything, and I was just a complete asshole. And I dumped her again, 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 until that's it, until she was completely gone. It took a couple of years, but that's it. There's a limit to how much a chick can get dumped again and again until she's gone. Somebody else is gonna pick her up and bang her and have kids and marry her, and that's it. And that's gonna happen with every chick that you keep dumping. So look, the thing, the most okay. Let's go to the most important thing with chicks, in my opinion. The most important thing with a chick is first of all, she knows you're yourself. But the purpose of she knows you're yourself is so that you are happy. The purpose that she wants you to be happy is because she wants you to be with her. Because she doesn't want to get dumped, especially not in the cold winter nights or with kids. So she needs to know that you're going to be with her for the long haul, in the long run, in the long term. So you need to know that that is what you want in order you need, right. So you need to know, and you need to tell her, and but you really need to mean it. And if you don't, then you need to go. You need to leave her alone and move on, and find somebody that you do want to commit to. But you need to want to commit to the chick basically forever. And it could,
Such a
what?
big commitment. That's such a big commitment.
Right, but when it's perfect chemistry, you don't care. It's a two-way. It's like when you buy a house, you really want the house. You really want it. As far as you're concerned, you want to die in it. You want to live there forever. It's the perfect house. Tomorrow morning, you might wake up and decide that actually you changed your mind. You don't want a house. You actually want something else. I don't know. You want to travel the world. Okay, but but right now, the way you are now, you feel that this chick is exactly what you want. She's the best. I wouldn't even say it's the best you can afford or the best you can find, but simply the best. She makes you feel the best. When you're with her, when you're thinking of her, you're happy. And when she's happy, you're happy. And when you talk, you're like two little children giggling. You always make her giggle, and you're always giggling together, and you're always happy. Anyway, the next most important thing with girls is to try and always make her happy. So it could be
What's that?
what?
What's about happiness?
What is happiness?
Yeah, define happiness.
It's very simple. It's very measurable scientifically with a smile. If you can make her smile and giggle, like true smile and true giggle, if she's really giggling, then you're on the right track. If you can make a girl giggle naturally just by being yourself, if you tell her I'm suicidal and she giggles, that's it. Then you're making her happy.
Um, it's not clear to me that this is reliable. If girls they are liars, they lie all the time. So they're gonna want to smile or giggle just to make you feel good, and
Right.
then they'll go about the day and not even remember you. Very basic. This is what girls do. They're naturally unreasonable.
Okay, so remember, I don't know if we ever discussed it. Have we ever discussed the rationality assumption?
Nope, I
You've
don't
never
think so.
you've never heard me mention the rationality assumption?
Nope.
All right. So the rationality assumption is actually
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. Just
Mhm.
we talked about a lot, so yeah, it's like in economics, and I think it assumes that people act in ways which better their status or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could say that
Well,
basically that's it. Like all creatures, not just people, it's absolutely all creatures. I'm assuming all creatures are rational, which just means egoistic, but egoistic in an optimal way. It's not just always, I don't care if anyone lives, and as long as I live, that is not egoism. It's not a calculated egoism. So you can be an egoist and jump on a hand grenade to save your friends. You can be an egoist and go to war and die for your country. But you're not dying for the country. You're dying, you didn't have an alternative. You had to, because all good men, because you're an egoist, you want to optimize your life. To optimize your life, you have to optimize society. You cannot let the evil rule, because then your life will be miserable. If you let a criminal run amok, he's going to hurt you. He's going to hurt your loved ones. He's going to degrade your quality of life. He's going to cause your life to be suboptimal. So you need to fight crime. And sometimes you need to fight crime. All good men need to stand against evil in order for society to stand, in order for you to have a flourishing life. So, part of all good men standing together against evil, that means go to war and die for your country, but that's because you're an egoist. Because if all good men,
uh,
Mhm.
you know Jesus. He said that as long as women give birth, there will always be suffering. Now, what's your opinion on this, given what you said?
Well, what's the? I don't know. I mean, as always, let's study this scientifically. First, we need to define
Yeah.
suffering scientifically. So, the opposite of suffering, I would say, is quality of life. So, we need to,
No, it's pleasure. No, it's pleasure.
well, but I don't think there is a pleasure metric in economics. Maybe there is. I mean, there's many metrics, but in general, any metric of quality of life. So there are economic metrics. There are economic ways to measure. They exist to validate Jesus's theory, and
I mean, it's pretty self-evident. If there's no body to experience pleasure or suffering, there isn't anybody to suffer.
that's
So
just
as long as you,
no.
that's not gibberish. That's not wrong. It's not that's not wrong. As long as people are there existing, then they are susceptible to suffering. If they don't exist, there is no person to suffer.
No,
Like
that's
what?
incorrect. We can prove that mathematically. That's incorrect.
Oh, okay, go ahead. mathematic.
So in mathematics,
Go ahead.
you cannot divide by zero. So if you don't have a population, it's there's many ways you can you can prove it. So it's basically undefined because
Oh my
science.
god. Go ahead.
It's basically undefined because it's you're claiming to have some objective knowledge of suffering, but there isn't. Nothing objective knowledge doesn't exist, as we've already covered. There is nothing objective exists, or it's at least unknowable. So as far as I'm concerned, it does not exist, cannot exist. No objective thing can ever exist.
Definition without objective.
How- okay, objective by definition means
Mind independent.
my exactly. So
Uh-huh.
it's by definition unknowable.
No.
Okay, then maybe I'm misunderstanding. Okay,
A triangle has three sides. That's objective.
what?
A triangle has three sides. That's objective. You can't think of a five-sided triangle.
I mean, that's okay. So
Think of a four-sided triangle
okay,
with or a one-ended stick.
okay, but that's just in your mind, right?
Oh my
Everything.
god. No.
No,
Okay, go. Yeah, I'm willing to entertain this.
that's it. I'm done.
Yeah, and actually, let's go back to the other point about
Hmm.
what is it? You can't divide by zero or something.
Right.
Or that I'm wrong or whatever.
No, it's
Go ahead.
it's the same claim. It's undefined. It's with zero population. It's just undefined. Or
What? So if you don't exist,
if
you can still suffer. Is that the idea?
it look, it's just I don't know. Look here. Let's go with the simpler one. It's no nothing objective exists. It's all relative.
What does that mean?
That
What does
means
that mean?
everything you want to measure is relative. There's no such thing as a tall person. There's tall in reference to, right? You're tall relative to maybe another person.
Yeah, but these are all things which we understand by observation. What I've said before, that's not observation dependent. I don't need to observe in order to evaluate what I said to be true. It's just true by definition.
But
It's like a one you, a one-ended stick cannot exist because that's just the definition. It has to have two sides.
okay, but
You can't find like a 12-sided circle because that's just the definition.
you don't
I
need
don't need
to
to see that.
add
So
any more examples. I already explained to you why it's simply not it's not objective. I told you, but that's just in your mind. Done. There's nothing more to add. It's not objective. It's just in your mind.
uh, so like you were saying with a straight face that people can think of like a three-sided circle. Is that the
I
idea?
don't have
I'm
to.
just not
I
getting
don't
it.
have to. Whether they do or not, it's not objective. It's literally subjective. It's in their mind. They can think. I don't need to think what they're thinking. Whatever it is by definition subjective.
But we there's definitions for them which doesn't depend on people thinking.
That's your but what do you mean? Whatever you're thinking. It's subjective. Okay, I'm gonna quiet down my phone because it's nagging. You have no access to objective knowledge. You cannot, by definition. But that's not even the problem. The problem is with scientific measurement. No scientific measurement can be expressed without a relation. You cannot say that something is tall or short or heavy or what. It doesn't mean anything unless it's in reference to, in relation to, relative to. Like you are right now located where in the universe, right? Your location in an empty universe has no meaning. Imagine a completely empty universe, just you in a spacesuit, floating in space. Can you?
Yeah, I understand. It's like, but prepositions and tool and all of that, these qualities are relational terms. So by definition, yeah, they do depend on other stuff.
So it's all relative. Then you agree that
Yeah,
there,
by definition, yeah.
fine. Then there is no suffering. There is no,
No,
yes. There is no.
no. It's a different category.
Does, what do you mean? Okay, everything for me must be scientific. Suffering is a scientific phenomenon. I'm familiar with it. Tallness is
What about existence?
what about? I'm familiar with.
Are there degrees of existence? Like you exist more than me, or this thing exists more than me.
If you want to define existence as a scientific
Um,
metric, we we may proceed. Sure, we can do that. We can define anything. It's up to us as scientists. Whatever we want to discuss, we we can create a scientific metric and measure it. The easiest one is suffering. How do you we can measure suffering between 1 and 10. Like how much suffering are you experiencing today relative to yesterday or relative to your average day thus far in life? So today for me is a 9.5 because I met the most beautiful chick last night and we're going to dinner tomorrow night. So my life is absolutely unbelievable.
oh dear.
Yeah. So it's very exciting. I'm very happy, so I can measure, so we can measure scientifically suffering. Today my suffering is relatively extremely low relative to my entire life, as has been for, last couple of months for me have been getting my life has been getting better and better. And meeting you online has been one of the highlights of my life. I really enjoy our conversations.
What?
Yes, absolutely. What do you think?
Good lord.
Yes, it's true. I enjoy our conversations. I have other friends, but we never have these deep conversations. And
Oh, okay.
you're nice. You're a nice person. Like other people, they're not, either they're smart but not nice, or they're smart but they're not deep, or you are the best person with whom I can have philosophical and scientific discussions. You're amazing. I really enjoy conversations, and I think anyone listening to us is really enjoying our conversations.
Not sure what to say. I guess I'm flattered. I don't know. I'm
No,
not.
but the point
Yeah, I don't know.
but the
I
point
didn't think I was that interesting.
right, but the point is that right, so Jesus had a theory, but the theory is unscientific, because unless you say a scientific theory that as long as women give birth, well, women do not need to give birth as far as I know, because we have already given birth to animals without women, without females. So women don't need to give birth. I don't know. I think there is already an artificial womb. They're just not using it for some reason. As far as I know, they've already given birth to at least one animal, a goat. Let me look it up.
I don't know if you're understanding Jesus' point.
Well, then if.
He's saying that the
Hmm.
only reason why there are people to suffer,
Hmm.
the only reason why somebody like Hitler or Mao, they they committed such atrocities was because somebody gave birth to them. If a woman did not give birth to them, there wouldn't be any Hitler or Mao to even, you know, commit the sins and atrocities.
Right. Okay, so
I don't know what like the confusion is.
wait, hold on. So you're talking about women giving birth, and you mention it again. So I'm saying if his theory has to do, which is obviously a little bit ridiculous, it's a little bit tongue in cheek, but I mean, he didn't anticipate a day will come and women will not need to give birth to children, to humans. I'm just pointing it out as half half jokingly. So that's not.
Well,
Hmm?
it's context dependent. So he's talking about, his time period, but you don't even have to interpret it literally. Or
No,
you can just say,
I'm
even if
joking.
it's not women, even if it's not women doing the procreation, just the principle of procreating, whether it's scientifically with some non-women mechanism like a machine or whatever, just the like reality of there being humans necessitates that there will be eventual suffering. If you wipe clean the slate of the filth which is humans, there aren't going to be people in pain, suffering, and stuff like that. That's pretty self-evident.
No, no, I said I'm half joking. I'm just half joking. You don't have to explain to me that it's not the crux of his argument. His crux of the argument, I think, is meaningless because he's expressing suffering in an absolute sense, as if there is suffering. But no term in any language exists in any absolute sense. There is no suffering. It doesn't mean
What?
anything. There is only relative suffering. You cannot talk about some absolute suffering. There is no some absolute suffering. I don't know. I don't even know what it means. You need to have a metric of suffering, which we inverted. We called it quality of life, right? The opposite of suffering is to have a quality of life. Like suffering is just a low quality of life. If you don't have a
Okay.
house and you don't have food and you don't have clothes and you don't have and don't have and don't have, that is suffering. Well, that's just an economic metric called quality of life. And the opposite is this.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. So there is you cannot. Right. Even in the OECD, what they do is they just compare the countries that are in the OECD to each other. And if you ask it, how is Britain, right? Here's the United Kingdom. So they show you the metric. Where is the United Kingdom located in housing relative to the rest of the countries in the OECD? Well, it's green. It's 6.5. Income, it's 5.4. Why is it all the way on the right? Maybe uh, because the average is also
Just to jump in,
yeah.
it doesn't make a difference whether suffering is absolute or relative. There still is suffering, whether you can measure it from 1 to 10, or whether I don't know what you mean by absolute suffering. Like, suffering
Exactly.
is like what you said, have nots, like you don't have pleasure, you don't have these stuff. Of course, you can measure it if you want to, but it's not relevant. You don't need to measure it. All you need to you don't need to measure how much like a baby's suffering if it's crying, or how much like another kid's suffering if he's got like a broken arm. You just know he's suffering. But all I'm saying is, unless there are conditions which allow for this relativity of suffering to be, if they aren't like in place, then there's going to be no suffering.
What were your last words? If they are in
Uh,
place?
if the conditions for suffering aren't there, then there won't be any suffering. There's not going to be a scale.
Well, then there's not going to be anything. So any
Yeah.
so I look, suffering, you have to give me a scale. Otherwise it's unscientific. I just to just say suffering, it doesn't mean anything to me. I'm being scientific about it. So If you want me to respond seriously about something, so I need to do it scientifically. Scientifically means measurable. Measurable means I need a metric. A metric.
Okay, is this going to be testimony? So suffering is just going to be anything over and anything below 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. Like if you were to ask somebody how much suffering are you, they'll just be like, "Oh, I'm below 5
Fine.
on the scale."
They don't need. They don't need to tell me. I can. I'll ask them questions, and or what you can do is just compare. Just ask. Just see where people are moving from and to, or where people are trying to move from and to. Then you can see where is relatively the best place, and by definition that's the place with the least suffering, and that is usually the United States. Most people from all over the world are trying to move to the United States from most places in the world. Whether they succeed is a different question, but the pressure, the immigration pressure, which is what I would measure, that would give you a very good a good measure, a good feel for where is the least suffering currently on the planet on average. I'm not saying that everyone in the US is happier than everyone everywhere else, but on average, US citizens seem to be the happiest just by the fact that everyone is trying to move to the US. If people in the US were not happy, they would write letters home to wherever they came from, telling them, forget it, I'm coming back to Africa. But on average, that doesn't happen. It's the opposite. It's once a guy moves to the US, he writes home, come over right away. This is too good to be true. And then the whole village wants to immigrate, which means the US is there's less suffering in the US than Africa. So just look, just the term as long as there's humans there's suffering, that's unscientific. That's undefined. I don't know what that means. I honestly don't know right cuz
You do know what it means because when I said it before, you said, "But then there would be nothing." Yeah, there would be nothing, but that means there's nothing to allow for suffering, which is just below 5.
okay, I don't
Nothing means nothing means nothing. Nothing means no things. So you can't have suffering. You can't have a person to say, "Yo, I'm below 5 on the
what
scale of suffering."
okay, there's two problems with that statement. You're saying suffering in an absolute sense. That should itself invalidate the theory or the prediction. Look, Jesus made a scientific theory. He gave us a scientific theory which I invalidate right away as unscientific.
Mm,
He's expressing suffering in an absolute sense. In an
How?
in what, what do you mean?
What do you mean by absolute sense?
What,
I'm like so
rel-
lost.
when he says suffering, what is okay? So what is the metric? So he says it's going to be zero. Okay,
Zero, right?
right. We said
Suffering is just -1 then. -1 and
no.
1 is
Okay, so the metric. Let's define the metric of happiness between 1 and 10. So let's say there is no zero. So between 1 and 10. So Jesus says if there's no humans, then the suffering will be, let's say, or the quality of life will be one. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything. I don't know.
1. No, 1 is positive, so let's use -1.
You can.
No, no, no. Actually, no, sorry. If there are no humans, then uh, yeah, it would just be zero, like just
No,
like the absence
no,
of value.
no.
What?
Let's define between 1 and 10. So we have 10 options: one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
It
8,
can't be
9.
between 1 and 10 because 1 and 10 are values. Zero is the lack of
It's
value.
just a It's just a metric. It's whatever you can call it A, B, C, D. You can do whatever you want. You can call it names. It doesn't matter. It's just it's some
On what on on 1 and 10, that's going to be pleasure and suffering, but zero is going to be just nothing
It's
whatsoever. That's
fine, but
what zero means.
it's fine. No, no, you can't. You can't. There's no such thing as not. You saying zero is undefined. Fine, then it's undefined.
Yeah,
That's it. What do you mean? It's undefined. It's un, the theory is invalid scientifically. The theory
no,
is
it's not.
invalid.
No, it's not. I could probably like hook me up with any scientist, and they would all agree with me.
That's appeal. No, no, that's appeal. That's appeal to authority, and that's appeal to consensus, and at populum. We're not there. There's only us two having this discussion. No one else. So you have to convince me. I have to convince you. So
That's not gonna work. Like we're not gonna convince each other.
why?
If you know you're right and I know I'm right.
N- I don't think. I think we can convince each other if we go step by step. Right? We're going to use logic on which we agree. We're going to go step by step and find out exactly where we diverge. So,
Well, I'm just like
mhm.
if there's no, I'm just like a bit. Uh, it's hard to like believe that you're actually saying that we're trying to entertain that if there's no elements in a system that the system can have value. Like I
there's
hope
no
that wasn't too
there's no experiment
confusing.
without a
Yeah,
population. You're saying I ran an experiment. Okay, what's the size of the population? Zero. Okay, then you did not run the experiment. Then to talk
y-
about the
y-
results of the experiment is undefined. I don't know what it means.
yeah. Like if there's no humans, how can a human suffer? Like because there's no human,
Exactly.
zero is
So
fine.
suffering is okay. Look, you
So you can't have suffering.
exactly. You cannot
Yeah,
have
that's
anything.
what I'm saying.
No,
That's
you
what I'm
cannot.
saying.
No, no, no. You're
That's what I'm
confused.
saying. No humans. So no woman, no cry. No baby, no cry.
Hold on, one step at a time. Look, you're confusing. There cannot be suffering. The word has, which hints at the word has no definition, meaning it's undefined scientifically, where there cannot be any suffering, as if everyone is happy. So you
What?
because the word there is no something is overloaded. The term there is no X is overloaded. It has two
What
meanings.
do you mean? What do you
There's
mean?
two meanings.
Yeah.
There is no suffering has two meanings. One
Let
is
me write it down. There is no suffering has two meanings.
yes. One
Okay.
is that everyone is happy. You're giving the impression that everyone is happy. But the other one is it's undefined as a metric. There is no suffering metric, a scientific statement. The word
I
is
disagree.
disagree with what?
That I'm saying that everyone is happy if there's no suffering. I'm not saying that.
Okay, then it's undefined. Then you agree. Then
Yeah.
what are we disagreeing on?
So yeah, exactly. What it's like too obvious to disagree. Like if there's no uh, what do you scientists call it? If there's no like people to conduct the experiment,
Population.
you're not. Yeah, there's no population. Uh, whatever the terms like can be used. If there's no things, then you can't say yeah they're suffering or yeah they're happy. Like, that's what I'm saying.
You cannot run the experiment. His theory is invalid. It's not a scientific theory.
No, it's validated because he's literally saying, therefore it will be undefined.
But fine, it's not therefore. It's not a scientific theory. It's just terminology. Suffering is undefined if there's no one to suffer. It's just a term.
Yeah,
It's just definition.
undefined means zero.
You can give it any number you want, but undefined If it, then look, I don't know. I honestly don't know what Jesus meant to say. I don't know what he meant to say. I don't know what he had in mind. It's
Could,
undefined.
could, could you feel pain if your mother didn't give birth to you?
But that's undefined.
Oh my god.
I mean, I honestly, you see, I don't even have words. I don't have words to consider to consider that statement. It's outside of the world. It's what does it mean? I don't know. If the universe didn't exist, could there be suffering?
No, by definition,
But
because suffering is something which only happens in the universe, because the universe just means all that exists.
okay, so you're saying without a universe there's no suffering, there's nothing. Without a universe there's no there you're saying, well, there's no way. Okay, let me ask you, how do you know that there is no suffering? How would you know?
Because that's the definition. It's just
Okay,
analytic.
then
It's
it's
just
not then
the
it's not
definition.
then again, it's not a scientific theory. It's just a definition. He didn't predict. He just
No, no, no. What's the issue of it being just a definition? Like it doesn't have to be scientific. So what we should be doing
he's
is
not saying
things only
he's not saying
things only make sense.
no.
Things
He's not
only
I'll tell you. He's not saying anything about the universe. He's saying something about language. He was a linguist. He wasn't a scientist, which is boring. He's playing word games, semantics. He's like the people that we debate all the time that need to win, so they manipulate definitions of words to win. That's how I feel about it.
Jesus wasn't like this, bro.
Look,
Jesus was the truth.
Jesus was the truth. What?
Oh my god, nah, I don't believe that, but it's
What? I didn't hear you.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I suppose he didn't really say anything wrong, did he? But all I'm saying is that uh, we shouldn't limit ourselves only to scientific theories. It should be scientific and definitions.
Okay. I mean, of course, we communicate with words, sure. So, and once we have words, we communicate about science, sure. Okay.
Yeah, definitions, logic, mathematics, science relies on all of these.
I think that they all come together at once. I don't think you can have a language without science, and I don't think you can have science without a language. They all come together. Science is, I mean, math is just a language, but
Hmm.
math is a science. You wouldn't know that one
No,
exists. Yeah, I mean,
that's not true. That's not true.
what do you mean? Tell me, tell me,
Well,
tell me a mathematical statement that does not depend on your experience, that has not been validated by your scientific experience. Just one scientific statement that is true, that has not been validated scientifically by you. Just one. One will disprove my.
you're begging the question.
What? Where?
Yeah, because you're
Begging?
saying, give me one mathematical statement which hasn't been proven by science, but your conclusion is that everything has been proven by
What
science.
do you mean conclusion? I mean,
Like
give me.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I prove a certain mathematical formula; it can still be true.
Wait.
It
Give
doesn't
me.
depend that I prove it
Okay.
for it to be true.
Okay. Tell me one mathematical truth. Just one. I don't care which one. Any mathematical truth.
A is A. A is A.
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
It means whatever is itself. Look, things are identical to themselves.
That's just
The
the
water bottle is the water bottle.
that's just the definition of the word is.
Yeah, it's one of the laws of logic which maths relies on.
I don't think it's a law. I mean,
It's literally called the law of logic.
fine, but I don't think it should fall under the definition of a law.
Well, it should be because laws are just things which
Okay, so give me
all relevant things like abide by, and everything in math abides by the law of identity that all things are themselves.
okay, give me another mathematical truth.
There are infinitely many prime numbers
How do you know that?
because I've been showing the demonstration for it.
All right, then you've then you've experienced it.
I experienced what
This mathematical truth, you've experienced it.
what does it mean to experience the mathematical truth?
You just told me that you experienced the proof. So you've experienced it. It's
I'm not sure what that means, but if you're implying that the truth of what I just said relies and depends on me proving it, then I'm gonna push back. It seems like it was true before I even knew about the theory in the
okay.
first place.
I'll
It's not. It's not like.
I'll accept.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll accept it. So let me try something else. So let's go through the proof. Prove to me that indeed there are an infinite prime numbers. Why don't
What we're gonna have like a math
let me
session on how to prove Euclid's theorem.
give then we have to reject your statement as false until you do that.
Why?
Yes,
Why?
because
Why?
you need to prove it. I asked you
What do you
for
mean? I'm
I
not
asked you
gonna give you
I,
anything different than what's already been shown
but I
with
asked
Euclid's
you
proof.
that's fine. But I asked you for a single statement in math that is true. So you went to the two trivial ones, and then you went to the most untrivial. So why don't you? But the third one, the first two, I don't see that they add any information to the conversation. So I don't know. I don't know what the. I wouldn't even define them as truth. It's just definitions. That's how I would see it. And the third one, you're not able to prove that it's true. So why don't you give me a mathematical statement that you can prove that it's true?
No, I can. This it's not clear to me why I need to derail into a math session on how to prove prove it when it's all over YouTube, it's all over Google. It's standard reductio. If you reject that it's true, then you end up in contradiction. It's like, I mean, and you said it's non-trivial.
I said
That's not true.
the first
It is trivial.
the first one you said is a thing is itself. That's
Yeah.
trivial. I don't see the usefulness of that statement.
Well, let's just see what it means to say something isn't itself. It means that
Okay, I have an okay. Yeah.
whatever.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. The first one, you need experience that there is a thing, right? Before you came into this universe, you had no experience. You didn't know, you could not have known that there are things to begin with. So even the word a thing is experiential, is scientific. It's actually a theory. You actually have a theory that there is a thing. It's a theory that you quickly proposed, maybe as a fetus, maybe on your first day. It's a very primitive scientific theory that you had, that there are things, even before thing is itself. The first, I would say, the first scientific or the first mathematical true statement would be things exist. Things. That there are things to begin with. That there is such a concept. The concept, maybe even the axiom of the concept of a thing. What is a thing? So the very notion that you have any awareness of a thing, well, that's experience. Why would you, right? If before you came into this universe, even let's assume you had a brain, as a brain, but the brain had no experience. It couldn't dissect anything. It wouldn't be able to. It would simply not be able to. You simply had no notion. Every notion you have of anything is experiential, is scientific. You had a theory in the beginning. You noticed, you began, as you first opened your eyes, as you first heard, as you first started experiencing things. Your brain started having this theory. Maybe there are things in the universe.
Are you saying that uh, if I don't experience it, then it does not exist?
I'm not saying I'm not saying that. I mean that we could come back to that because you're implying objective existence, and I'm not referencing anything objective. So what I'm saying is when you first come into existence, right, your brain slowly forms as you're a fetus, as your fingers are evolving or developing. So your brain is developing, your fingers are developing, your ears, your mouth, and everything is becoming connected. And whatever it means to have a scientific theory, the first steps are beginning to take place in in your system, in your brain, in your, with the ears, with the fingers, with all your experiences. You're beginning to scientifically experience the universe, because science is just experience. Science is just how we live our lives. It's not even, it's a little bit more than experience. It's how our brains work. It's the natural way our brains work, which it makes sense. I mean, our brains evolved for survival. So science is, however it works, is scientific. That, just that science is
And logical.
what?
And logical.
What do you mean and logical?
Well, logic, like the connection of, uh, like it's a bit like mathematical or logical
It's just
relations
math.
with things are.
Math and logic are just sciences. You
Oh, they're
cannot
not.
make
They literally are.
what? We just
They
proved.
they literally are not.
I just proved it.
Science is empiric. Science is empirical. Mathematics and logic are not empirical. We don't see 5 plus 5 equals 10.
We just proved that even a thing is itself is a scientific experience. It's a
Oh,
scientific. We just proved it.
it's not. No, you can use reason to get to the conclusion. You
You
don't
can't.
see A is A.
You can't because
What?
you
Can't
can't.
what?
You cannot.
Can't what? Can't what?
You cannot reason anything in the beginning.
What?
An empty
You
brain
can.
cannot. A brain, when it first comes out of the
God.
of production, is empty. It cannot discriminate anything. It has no
No, no,
ability.
no. That's an assumption.
Yes, that's
Yeah, because there's literally papers, and there's literally people in history who reject this idea you're saying.
fine. Then anything the brain is prejudiced towards is just some evolutionary imprint and then again, it has been experienced by evolution. So, evolutionarily speaking, let's say we noticed a lot of faces. So the brain is pre-programmed to notice a pattern of a face and stuff like that. We know that to be true, yes. But that's there's two ways of learning. One of them is through evolution. Evolution, a lot of animals are purely instinctual. They actually cannot learn. Their brain cannot rewire, cannot they don't have the same capacity. I don't know. I mean, I don't even think we know, but no, no, no. Even the worm can learn. So every creature can learn, but every creature is born with some instincts, with some pre-programmed lessons. So I would claim that. But that's not an empty brain. A purely empty brain is one that has no pre-programming on it. So you wouldn't know what a thing. Such a brain would not know anything as it comes out. Anything it knows is experiential through evolution. That because that lesson was not hardwired in certain of his ancestors, they didn't survive. So the ones that survived have the hard wiring of these lessons, such as I think they say snakes. The a snake is hardwired in the brain, and maybe there's other things like falling, like certain things that babies are terrified of the same things. I think those are hardwired, at least in the beginning. Maybe later these wirings dissolve, but initially these hard wiring lessons, right? So there is no math is has the word a thing is itself. So a thing, the very notion of a thing, that's a pattern that your brain has noticed either since you were born or through evolution.
This isn't empirical at all.
Okay. What do you
Like,
what do you mean?
well, you can prove it through reduction, and you will end up in a contradiction.
What do you
If a thing isn't itself, it's contradictory
No, no,
for a
no.
thing not to
I'm
be
not
itself.
saying I'm saying a thing, right? The axiom of a thing.
How is it an axiom?
Well, you just brought it up. So it's an axiom. Every word that
No.
I'm giving you the benefit, I'm helping you. Look, I'm steel manning your position. You went to I asked you for a true statement. I was expecting the standard 1 plus 1 is 2, and we could, easily attack that. But you came with a new claim that I've never tried before to actually deal with it, and I see that it's possible and it's very straightforward actually. That the very
I
notion.
feel like the only way you can disagree that
Mhm.
A is A or things are themselves if is if you don't actually understand what it means. So the idea behind a thing being itself is that if it was not itself, it couldn't be a counterexample to all things being itself as a result of of that.
I have literally no idea what you just said or why it's
Oh,
relevant.
so let's say there's a counterexample to A is A. This counterexample,
Why do you need
um,
why do you need to go so far? I mean, it's obvious that A is A. It's basically, I would
yeah,
say, it's definitional. Wait, have you
yeah,
noticed? So, are you saying that you notice that a thing is itself, or are you saying that it's definitional?
it's definitional.
Okay, then it's not a scientific. It's not. I would say it's not true. That's not a true statement. It's an axiom. If you say
No,
it's definitional, then that's what I would say. That's an axiom. That's like
it's literally it's literally necessarily true. So in like formal logic, there's this thing called a tautology, which means it's impossible for it to be false. So it's literally true. There's no scenario where it's not true.
Okay, that's I would say that's definitional then.
Mathematics and logic is definitional, so there's no issue there. But I think humans, like, I think in general, using science, you can't rely solely on science. It has to be science and definitions, nothing else.
Okay, so you said math and logic are definitional. I was gonna
Yeah.
say no, they're not. So before we
Um,
continue, so I asked you for a true statement in math that is not experiential. You gave me a thing is itself. I told you a thing, you would not know what that is without experience.
it doesn't matter.
Yes, of course it matters. It's
I,
what do you mean?
I don't need to be in the room to know that all the things in the room are themselves.
But you
Like
need
it doesn't rely on my observation. That's the idea. It's just true by definition. That's just how things are.
But what is a thing? How would you ever know what a thing is, right? When you tell me a thing, I know what a thing is, right? I experienced a thing. We all experience. That's why we can relate to each other about. But that's because we have an experience with a thing. Imagine, well, let's start with someone who doesn't speak English, so he doesn't know what you're saying. But let's say someone who'd never experienced this universe. They wouldn't know anything. They wouldn't know that they wouldn't know anything. They wouldn't know to parse anything, to discriminate anything, to recognize any pattern. They would be completely devoid of anything. No information, no analytic powers, nothing. That's an empty brain. Do you disagree with that?
But if he doesn't have any like, if he doesn't experience anything whatsoever, he wouldn't agree. Is that what you're
It
saying?
wouldn't even agree or disagree. Any word, any term you use would literally be undefined. It's like
Because he wouldn't know what I'm talking about.
it
Yeah.
couldn't. It would start hearing
Yeah.
you, and like chat. It would be like Chat GPT that would just hear you and hear your. Chat GPT just from hearing creates all these associations between words, and it just auto completes, and it sounds intelligent, but it
I mean, of course, I agree. Thoughts without content are empty. Like if he's not, if he's just hearing what I'm saying, but what I'm saying doesn't have any content or substance, then yeah, he's just gonna be hearing sounds and he's not gonna respond. You know? Yeah, sure. I don't know how that's relevant, though.
no. The point is that a person, I'm saying like Chat GPT, he just hears and hears and hears, and slowly he starts associating. Just this word comes after that word and stuff like that. So all I'm saying is that, um, but ChatGPT in the beginning hears things, and right when you first run ChatGPT, he doesn't know anything. When you first run him and let it read all Wikipedia, before that it had no notion of anything. It's entire the weights were completely randomized. Initially, when you create an artificial intelligence, all the weights are randomized. It cannot discriminate any pattern it discriminates or it recognizes is random. It and that's one of the ways you can attack AI, artificial intelligence. You can attack them with these very chaotic pictures that they see things in these chaotic pictures and you can fool them anyway. But so uh, uh, like the brain when it forms initially in the embryological stages, all the weights, all the synapses, their weights, their sizes and their numbers are completely random. The brain doesn't recognize patterns except for the pre-programmed ones for snakes and faces and stuff. But but imagine a completely empty brain, completely randomized weights. Well, initially that brain doesn't know what a thing is. And you cannot talk to this brain about a thing. It doesn't even know English. So
Okay.
you it needs to as I said, you need to experience both simultaneously. You need to experience language and life in order to develop a notion for what a thing is and what the word thing is. The way you learn is actually scientific, right? Because in the beginning you hear a word and you come up with a theory. Oh, maybe that word is mentioned, it means that. And then and you make a prediction and you hear it again,
That's the law of identity, by the way.
that a thing is itself.
Yeah.
It's fine, but in the beginning you're gonna, as an empty brain, you first start learning language and you learn about the universe. And actually both of these you learn them scientifically. The way you learn life about the word a thing and actual things, that is a scientific approach, and there is no other approach. The only way you can learn is through experience and through trying
No, 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 no. That's false. That's false. That's false. That's
to.
literally so false.
Hmm.
That's literally so. That's really bad.
Hmm. Why?
So you have observation, but you also have another realm
Hmm.
where it's just purely definitions and just like I don't want to use too much big words, but
Hmm.
there's like things you know by experience. So
Hmm.
if somebody told you that, uh, okay, if somebody just told you that hmm, what is it called? A bachelor is coming home.
Hmm.
You don't need to observe the bachelor because by definition you know that the bachelor, the person who is coming to your house, is an unmarried male. Like that's just
There's
you don't need
definition.
to
That's a
see him or ask him. Yeah, exactly. So that's one way to understand and learn. Another way is to observe. So somebody might ask you, "What color is my house?"
wait.
And in order to verify what color the house is, you need to drive or travel to the house, look at the color, and then you can tell. So
Mhm.
that's two different ways.
Okay, so the first one. So if I tell you, if somebody tells you a bachelor is coming home,
Yeah.
so you're assuming that the person telling you is correct, is not lying, that the bachelor is not lying, that he's not really married. Like I get this a lot with chicks. You tell them that you're not married, they want to. I've had chicks asking for proof. Prove it.
I'm like, assume he's telling
Assume,
the
yeah,
truth.
assume and assume and assume.
That's like such a
So you,
Weasley way to answer.
what?
That's a Weasley way to answer. Like,
Reason,
even if like
easily.
assume the guy's telling the truth, but even if he isn't, you're not incorrect to assume that if what he's saying is true, then you can expect an unmarried man is coming to your house. Like, that's what
Okay.
I'm getting at. If
No,
what's
I'm
being said
saying
is true,
no. I disagree with you. You cannot. That's not true.
what?
That is an
Hmm.
untrue statement. Okay, what's your
Oh my
evidence for that? Okay,
god,
what's your
what?
evidence for that? What's your
Because
evidence that it's a
if
true?
P then Q, if P then Q, P then it's literally modus. Okay, okay.
That's not
So
evidence. That you're
th-
giving me the general rule. I'm saying that you have
but-
no evidence. You're making a prediction about a case. I've had so many people lie to me. People told me people are coming. They were either mistaken, the wrong person came, he wasn't really a bachelor, he said he was a
bro,
bachelor, but he was.
you're being dishonest, man.
No, I'm being scientific.
You are. No,
You're saying
this is not science. This is not
I
science.
understand. I understand what you're trying to say. I'm just saying it's it's like assuming and assuming and assuming and assuming. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you assume and assume, you can forever assume, or you can just say, no, it's let's make a scientific statement without all these because you're going to end up making infinite assumptions. You're going to end up with the incompleteness theorem. You're going to end up with incompleteness because every system is incomplete. You can never completely say anything. So you're gonna end up saying assuming and assuming and assuming we're both speaking English and assuming, assuming forever. You're gonna be assuming. Or let's have a scientific discussion, which is what it is. You're having a scientific discussion that in general, I don't know, when people say scientifically speaking, I don't even know if it's true. I don't know.
No,
You
no,
you can
it's
say
impossible for you to be incorrect if what the guy
no.
was saying
What
was an honest
no.
truth. It's literally impossible. There's no world or
I just
scenario
showed
or
you.
imagination. No, 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 no. What you showed me
Okay,
was
what if he
like,
got married
the-
between the time that you were told and he came, he got married? What do you do then?
he came and he got married,
Even then, let's say he came just before stepping into the house, he got married. But you were
and
told
the statement is
you
then the statement is no longer true.
fine.
But no, 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 but you're actually like
But you
confusing
said
the. No,
no.
no, no. You're
I,
actually
I'm
confused.
not. I'm not
Actually, you actually
confusing.
no,
I'm
no, 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 no.
not
If
confusing.
we had to write, if we wrote this down, there would be a trouble with the reference of what we're saying. So when I speak of the Bachelor, I'm speaking about the man I know who isn't married at the time I said the statement. But you're saying, what if the man who you know who isn't married at the time you made the statement got married after the statement is actually made? So that's like a misconfusion.
What if between the time that before you told me he got married, so you thought he's unmarried, he's a bachelor. Then he got married, unbeknownst to you, and then you told me because you thought he's unmarried. And then he came, but he was already married because between the time that you knew and you told me, he got married. Between the time that you confirmed, and even any confirmation you make is always going to be uncertain because of all the uncertainties in the universe. There's so many uncertainties that this
No,
statement, you can make a probabilistic, you can make a scientifically probabilistic statement about in general when people say that a bachelor is coming, statistically speaking, from the experiments we ran, we got this probability that it ended up being being as stated after we did, our due diligence. But still there is an error bar even within the probability that we're giving, the statistics that we gathered from all these experiments. There's still error bars because of the measurement problem, because every measurement has inherent uncertainties in it. So then you can start becoming scientific. I understand what you're saying. You're saying there is such a thing as math. I agree, there is. It's a model of reality. That's fine, but it's built on experience and logic too. So when you talk about a bachelor is a science. You have a scientific experience of a bachelor. You experienced a bachelor. You know what a marriage is, and you know what unmarried is. You have experience, scientific experiences. That's how you learn language, through science. Science is just the way by which all creatures learn. They
okay. You're wrong, but let's move on.
About what? What do you mean
Every
wrong about?
literally everything. But let's move on.
Why do you want to move on? I think this is
It's
this
fucking
is
boring.
this is so fundamental. What exactly do you think I'm wrong about? What exactly? Where is my wrongness? What do we disagree on? Where am I going off what you agree with?
Okay. Well, you're wrong that if a person is a bachelor, that he isn't also a person who is an unmarried male.
By definition in the dictionary, if we look up or we can define in this conversation, fine. Yes. But that's
Okay, that's
because
just how things are. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I would say that's just our experience. We both experienced bachelors, and we both experienced, it's just language.
I've never met a bachelor before.
But we
But
you've how did
if somebody told me that the teacher who's teaching the lesson right now is a bachelor, I would instantly know that he's also an unmarried male. That's just how things are by definition. I don't need
if
to.
it's by definition,
I don't need to.
but
I don't
your
need to look at him. I don't need to do anything. I just know
but you
because that's
agree
the
but you
entailment from the definition.
but you agree that you learned language through experience, right? You experience this universe, and simultaneously you experience language, right? You experience language and this universe. It's all
What do you mean
experiential.
experience?
The word bachelor, it's not a pure definition. It's not some abstract definition. It's your experience. It's your scientific experience of this universe. Since you were
What,
born until today, you've gathered experiences, scientific experiences. One of them is the scientific theory of a bachelor. You have a scientific theory of a bachelor,
scientific?
of every word, of every experience. Each and every one of your experiences in your mind is like a micro scientific theory.
It's a concept. It's not
Yes,
scientific.
it's
I can't measure. I can't like put a bachelor like the concept under a microscope and like see the atoms of it. It's just what logic and mathematics does. It connects concepts together, and once the two concepts match and there's no difference between them, we say that they are identical and that there's no dissimilarity between them. So when somebody says a bachelor is coming, I know that it's an unmarried man because there's no difference in definition or meaning attached. There's no discrepancy on what could be picked out by bachelor because they are the same thing.
I agree. I
I don't need to observe.
Okay, look. Just before we started, I was listening to a lecture in mathematics. So I know I love mathematics. I understand. I understand everything you're saying. I'm just saying you have to be aware that without experience, right? Do you agree or disagree? Without experience, you wouldn't know language, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so ex- experience is is AKA science. It's just another word for experience is science. Agree or disagree?
I want to say disagree, but I don't know what you mean. Experience
So
is
let's stay.
science.
It's fine. Let's stay with experience. So any word you use, any definition you have, is based on experience.
Okay, but the word is not the thing.
The word. What do you mean?
Like you know the apple. It's a bit more difficult to say this without showing you like me writing it down. But you know, apple. I'll put quotation marks around it. There's like an apple. The word apple. That's not the apple itself. It's just a label given to describe the thing itself.
I would say that the word it's an experience. You've had experience with many types of apples, and you have a general notion of a general apple.
You can't get drunk off of the word wine or beer because that's not the thing itself.
It's fine.
It's just
It,
something we.
I'm not saying that the word is the thing. I'm not saying that. I never implied that. I'm just saying that whatever word you use, any thought you have is based on experience you had. So to tell me that it's pure something, no, it's experienced. It's not pure anything. It's actually complete bias. Every word you have is perfect bias. Not perfect, but it's a bias. It's an experience. It's not. There's nothing pure about it. There's nothing abstract. You can abstract the word apple from all those experiences you've had with apples, with things that look and taste and behave like apples. So you picked up this notion, this pattern. This is what our brains do. They just pick up patterns. You call it a concept or a definition or a word. It's just your brain reshaping itself, or letting, or it doesn't let, I mean, the experiences that the brain experiences reshape the brain, whether the brain likes it or not. That's just the nature of the beast. It just becomes
Uh,
shaped by the experiences. So when you say bachelor, it conjures up associations that, emotions, memories, experiences. It's just an experience. It's just a bunch of experiences with different weights. It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It reminds you, that's the feeling that you have for this word. And then, and that's what a word is. It's just a feeling, that it's just an experience or experiences. It's just the bias, and it's up to the bias of the person that had your experiences in life could be very different than mine. So these are biases, but we have shared biases. But all humans have, like, if an alien comes down to Earth, they might not even have men and women. They might all be of the same sex. They wouldn't know what a bachelor is. They all have the same sex, so there is no, and they don't even have pairing or something. Who knows? Or they lost it. They forgot about it. Maybe they're AIs. They're unisex, so there is no. They just don't have the word. Like in hunter-gatherer societies, they don't have the word for mom. Did you know
mhm.
that? Forget about
Not that
bachelor.
one,
What?
not that one, but I'm not that one particular, that example, but I'm aware that different languages don't have words for different stuff. There's also another language which doesn't have a word for blue or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
I mean, try walking up to an NPC and ask them what is consciousness. Like, just define.
Okay.
They would simply not know what you're talking about. Like, you would have to give them, your experiences of how to use the word consciousness in order for them to start, guessing. And you would tell them not exactly. Slowly they would start. You could argue that an NPC has no consciousness because they don't have that concept in their brains. They just go about lives.
Um,
What?
oh, no, I'll just say like sound effect reaction. That's just a bit weird at face value.
Well,
But they only have consciousness once they realize what the term picks out.
no, you could
That's a
argue.
bit weird.
I'm not saying that they do or not. I'm just saying you.
Oh, okay, that's my bad. Sorry.
Yeah, you could argue. Like, I once spoke to, like, an older woman, and I asked her if she thinks we have consciousness, because that's what I study. So that's what I talk to everyone. Somebody in my family, and she said, "What is that word? I've never heard that word
Yeah.
before."
I am sympathetic to that as well. I'm not convinced that we do have consciousness as well. To be fair.
Me neither. It's a
Yeah.
macro illusion, like everything
Uh-huh.
else. There is, like, everything is just a pattern. Consciousness is just another pattern. You could argue that nothing exists and everything is just a pattern. Maybe that's actually what I
Yeah,
am.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I believe this that nothing exists.
Then not even a bachelor can exist. A bachelor is just a pattern that you noticed. Whether it exists objectively or not, we have no access to objective knowledge. So all you have is just your personal bias that, yeah, you think, as far as you know, bachelors exist. As far as you know, you have a theory as to the definition of a bachelor. It's this and that. And you have that
Yeah,
theory based on your experiences with using the word bachelor with everybody else.
yeah. I just need to be clear when I say I don't believe anything exists because people might think I contradicted myself. So when I say I don't think anything exists, I mean in the absolute sense because everything depends on other stuff. So
Good,
you would agree, right? Everything depends on something more.
good.
But
Then we agree on everything. If you agree, but hold on,
yeah,
let me read. There's comments. We've neglected the chat on YouTube. So Woody Johnson says, "What's up, slave?" And LOL,
you,
slaves dry jokes. I made a joke. I don't remember making a joke. I
I
usually
don't know.
I usually don't make jokes. Chris Semenko says, I'm listening to you talk about love. Sadly, there's so many toxic, narcissistic people out there now. Okay, so you just, play the numbers game. Drop, keep looking until the day you die. Keep looking until you find. But hopefully, if you spend your youth looking, you'll find someone or many if you want many, but you can find people that will have good chemistry with you. And, if you, some people like narcissistic, and
Can we focus on this message for the time being?
yes,
So that does sound exhausting. Just look, just you'll find somebody eventually. That sounds very
mm,
tiresome, boring, tedious, exhausting. But
yeah,
also, wouldn't you say that naturally, if we go down a list of different women or men, whatever you like, and you're not getting any results at all, you're going to soon think that, oh, there's no good women out. Like, there's no good people I can find. There's nobody I can. There's nobody out there. Cause
yes. But then you'll remember that once you actually met someone and it was terrific, and for some reason or another you lost her, but others like her exist in duplicate copies. That's my experience. I'm making and I am extremely individualistic. I'm the weirdest person in the universe. I'm, as you can tell, I'm so different than everybody else. That I say that it's possible to find the perfect match in multiple copies also everywhere in the world. Not just, you don't have to leave your sofa. I mean, you can find them. They're waiting for you, and actually, they're waiting for you all this time. Yeah,
you can also experiment with non-human animals as well.
you can do whatever you want. I mean, we have to be careful. YouTube is not very forgiving to such statements. So let's say that was a joke. That was a good joke because we don't want YouTube to think that we're serious about that.
Yes,
Anyway,
YouTube always not being serious. I guess.
exactly, exactly. So, um, so So look,
Sorry about that.
yeah, no, it's okay. So look, I'm the person with the most trouble finding love, and I've given
Doesn't
up.
sound like it.
What?
Doesn't sound like it.
I know, but I went through a complete shift. So at one point, I found John Anthony Lifestyles channel. I think that was the biggest revolution in my life. So his channel, I think that was the biggest change in my life. If I have to recommend one channel, it would be John Anthony Lifestyle. Let me put it in the chat.
I'm on his channel now.
You're on his channel? Yeah, I mean, that if I have to recommend one channel, so I would recommend listening to him a lot. He's also good like as a motivator with, all his content should motivate you to not give up and never give up and always get back out there and play the numbers game. But also I would recommend to listen to me a little bit filtering him because I don't go exactly by his method, but he certainly changed my life. I mean, he is the reason I was able to just completely naturally walk up to literally the hottest chick in the club, and I am much older than her. I'm like easily her grandpa. So I was easily able to walk to a drop dead gorgeous chick and just talk to her like a human being. That's because of John Anthony. And the fact is that later last night, I texted her. Her first response was, "You should know that I have such a hard time with men because they're never natural with me. And for us, we were talking the whole night. For us to have such intellectually stimulating conversation was
Uh-huh.
like she couldn't believe she was having such a conversation with a man because she says She gave up on that basically because men are so dysfunctional intellectually. They lose their brains when they're interacting with her. So that's completely John Anthony. That's 100% John Anthony with his tricks, with his mind tricks, how to do that, how to be able to do. I mean, it's for me. This is, it took a very long time. I mean, I was listening and listening to him for a very long time, and then I went, and the first time I tried it, I pooped my pants and peed myself, and I couldn't talk and I couldn't breathe, and somehow I survived. But the trick is you just do it again and again and again and again and again, and you just become numb to it. And at the end, yeah, you're just able to walk up to a chick and say, "Hey, so here's the difference between me and John." So John says the first words is, I thought you're really cute," or "I thought you're real cute. I wanted to talk to you real quick," or something. I don't do that. So I discovered that that's a waste of time. So I mean, it's a waste of the first instance that you don't have much time. So what I discovered, the most effective first statement with any chick, any age, any place, any time, you walk up to a chick. The first question is, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" That's the first thing you do. "Hey, can I ask you a
Uh-huh.
question?" That's the first words that come out of my mouth. I don't care who the chick is. "Hey, can I ask you a question?" So usually they say, "Yeah, sure." So already you put her mind at ease and she's receptive and she's positive. She gave you a positive, usually 99%. I've never had a girl answer no to can I please ask you a question? Never had a girl say no to that ever. And I've tried it on a few, like a few more than a few. So the first that works. So usually it stops them from life. So that's very important. So without any effort, without any mental stress, and it's automatic because I know exactly what I'm gonna ask. Now you can skip. You can evolve my method to any other method. You can take John's method. It's whatever. But that's what I do. So the first question is, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" So it stops them from everything, and obviously, you don't startle them, and you're very gentle and nice. If it's in a club, then of course you have to lean into their ear to say it, to yell it. All right, so you got through that, and she says, "Yeah, sure." She yells it back at your ear, and then you say, "Are you single?" So in my case,
Mm-hmm.
in general, in the street, I say, "Are you single?" But me, because I interact with the BDSM community, the first question is something a little different. But
Oh,
I don't know if I should go into exactly what I say, but but on the street it also works. The "Are you single?" works. Just "Are you single?" Then if she says, anyway, from there it's a simple dialogue tree. I think we went through this once. Anyway, um, how did we get to this topic? Let's get back to our.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, it was the comment that the guy left. So I'm listening to you talk about love. Sadly, there's so many toxic, narcissistic. So okay. So toxic just means you're not a good match. You need to leave her and move on. Narcissistic, you're not a good match because I like chicks that are extremely narcissistic. I mean, she has to love herself like crazy. She has to think that she is the center of my universe. Otherwise,
Oh,
I'm not turned on.
oh, wow.
So, so some people, I don't like men who are narcissistic. Meaning, I don't like when I look when I mean I do. I mean, like my best buddy, he is a narcissist, but with chicks, he's a narcissist. But with guys, with me, he's the greatest guy. So it really depends. But like you could even like a toxic chick
Okay.
because let's say you're toxic one way and she completes you with her toxicity and you're just toxic in such a way that you're just happy together. If anybody looks from the side, he says these guys are nuts. Like if she likes peeing and pooping and you like to do whatever, because last time we got a strike for this discussion. So
Oh,
if
really?
there is a
Wow.
completion, one likes hurting the other and the other one likes getting hurt, then this toxicity is perfect. And if you think about it, like if I like being hurt and I find a girl that likes also being hurt, that's not going to work. Somebody's going to be working hard and not enjoying themselves. Like a lot of chicks, they like they like being dominated, and I hate dominating. So these relationships are terrible. I find them boring and bothersome. I don't enjoy it. Now we could have good chemistry in life, but really you should look for someone who completes you, who is exactly your completion. So everybody's happy. So she's happy that she abuses you, and you're happy being abused, or vice versa. Or if you're both normies, then you need a normie. Those exist. Everything exists. And it's usually, I think it's the same numbers. But you'd never know if you never played the numbers game. It's really it's up it's so John teaches us that love is just a science, and he just went through many experiments, and he has his data to share with us. And it's fine. You can listen to all his methods and stuff and take whatever you want from it. And I did, and I think it's the most effective that I think exists.
Have you ever hit a girl before?
Of course, I've seen John's channel a couple of years ago already. So I've been before then. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't like. I was overwhelmed by how to approach a girl. I would, or even a guy. Like I was terrified of even
Hey, hey,
like
one sec, one sec. Which video got striked? What did I say?
no, it's what I said. It's I'll have to go to my email and look at it, or maybe I can see it. Or it's not a strike. No, not a strike. It's age restriction. Sorry, age restriction. I got all our strikes removed. I think
Oh,
all of
okay.
them were removed. We just have like a one or two that are age restricted. I'm not going to appeal the age restriction because we did say terrible things, so it's fine. But we
Like
should have.
what?
I
Like
wanna
what?
what?
What did we say?
Like the BDSL. We should not
Oh, okay.
mention BDSL and stuff like that. Because look, YouTube, they play advertisers, so they need to be It's not like YouTube cares. It's not like anyone cares. Everyone cares about what other people say. The advertisers don't care. It's what the normies will say, and the normies don't care. It's just what the other normies will say, and then those normies don't care. It's just what the woke will say, and the woke don't care. It's like nobody really cares, but at the end society collapses, and that's fine. Anyway, so going back to this comment, so I'm listening to you talk about love. Sadly, yes, it's just so many toxic and narcissistic people out there now. I wouldn't say it's out there now. I don't think it has changed. It's just that you're discovering this universe for the first time, being you. You don't know what it was like 100 years ago. Nobody knows. We don't know. I don't know what it was like. It might have been better, might have been worse. I don't know. I
Yeah,
so
there was no books or humans, so how are we to know what life was like 100 years ago?
no. I It's difficult for me to know what it was like. How can I know? Honestly, how can I know? Look. I have to assume it was the same. I have no data to assume it was. Why would it be different? What changed? I don't know what changed. So if I
In
can,
what way? In what way do you mean different?
I don't know. Why would you assume anything was different 100 years ago? What was different? So you could say we didn't have the knowledge of the internet. So you could say the internet changed us. Okay, that's not from 100 years ago. That's like from 2000. That's like 25 years ago. 25 years ago, there was no internet, as far as I remember. Let me think. Maybe 30 years ago. Okay, fine. 35 years ago, zero internet. So 35 years ago, zero internet. I think before then, the universe was the same since the creation. The difference is the internet, which will destroy civilization, probably. So,
Yeah, I agree.
okay, fine. But, for now, we have knowledge. Knowledge is a two-edged sword. It will destroy civilization, but for now, you can enjoy it. So enjoy it. So, but I don't think it's the people today are different, because you're thinking maybe because women have the internet and women have what do you call it, like Instagram. So you think the Instagram changed women, but I think very few women have been changed by Instagram. Very few women have a lot of followers.
Well, they also got the right to vote, and that changed them as well.
I don't think any one person knows that they can change. I mean, it doesn't make you feel different. You could argue that Instagram makes a girl feel different, but it doesn't really, because even if she has 10,000 followers, that still has no impact on her life. And I know super duper hot chicks that have very, very active Instagram and they barely have just about 5,000. So so most super duper hot chicks don't make any, like, Instagram for them is just for friends. It's not going to change their lives. They still have a normal boyfriend. They're not going to be invited to anywhere in the world. Most chicks are not invited to anywhere in the world. I don't think so. So most chicks have always been sought after. Like most chicks when they're young, in general, everyone knows it, but their moms told them ahead of time, look, everybody's going to be chasing you and you got to be careful. Don't go with anyone because they'll destroy your life. They'll just use you and dump you. So don't do it. So chicks know it. So they know there's no point in flying anywhere unless there's potential. So you got to prove to them, like even men that fly out women, they talk to them a lot before these chicks fly out to meet them for the first time. Sometimes these men are terrible men. They abuse women.
Don't, don't you think though that sometimes being a little aggressive to the women is warranted?
No, no, no. I regret any. No, no, never. Absolutely never. For me, never. Look, I
Why
have
not?
I have friends who abuse women, but consensually. I mean, they don't like you.
I'm talking about no consent because
So,
I think consent is overrated.
no, then don't be surprised that she gets revenge. Just expect revenge. Expect your life destroyed. Expect the worst of the worst. You'll be murdered in jail. You play. Then you're playing with fire. Then you're playing with Then you take
Uh oh,
chances.
playing with fire.
What?
Playing with fire, yes, weird.
It's weird.
No, no, no. I'm just. It's a quick little joke because there's a YouTuber called Playing with Fire.
Yeah, playing with fire. I was on his channel. That's how I started my channel.
Oh wow, history. I didn't know.
Yeah, you can see the
Yeah,
old
go
video.
ahead. I didn't mean to stop your train of thought. I was just bringing it up.
So look, I mean, if you're abusing anyone, you're playing with fire. Why would you want to do that? And that's exactly the idea of his channel. The idea of his channel is to play with fire. Like he's an idiot. You should not do that. And he does it. And he gets, he attacked me. He's a toxic person. Like I banned him on my channel. I blocked him on every social network. Like he talk about toxic. I mean, he is toxic. He's just and my
What did
mistress.
he do?
What? I mean, he
What
attacked
did he
me. He
do?
accused me of of crimes for no reason. I don't
Um,
like. I don't know if he did it just to get just to be drama or what Karen said that it's because he was jealous of me because I kept making him look like an idiot in all our debates. Like every time he invited me to the show because everybody kept asking for me to come back because I was so funny. I made everybody laugh. I was trying to be funny. I was having a good time. I was helping him. I did my best to help his channel grow. And his thank you was to accuse me of crimes. But Karen explained to me in one of our conversations that with hindsight, he just got butthurt that I kept making him look like an idiot because every time we had any discussion, I just showed that he's an idiot. Like I never intended to make him look like an idiot, but like he forced me to defend. Like he attacked somebody who believed in God. I had to defend that guy because he was just being an asshole. I mean, that guy playing with fire. I asked my mistress, "What do you think about this guy?" I don't even think I asked her what do you think. I just brought him up in the discussion. She didn't know anything about him. Like not my like I had an ex mistress, and then I was handed over to another mistress. So the second mistress told me that guy's an asshole. I asked her, why do you think that? She says, what do you mean? He's a complete asshole. That's all he is. He's just an asshole. So he has a big YouTube channel, but he's just an asshole. So if you're an asshole, prepare for the worst. You're playing with
is he
fire.
worse when? Is he worse when? Ask yourself.
Is he what?
What is your opinion on? Ask yourself.
Very bad. Very bad. Very bad. I came on their show and I mopped the floor with their faces, but they kept playing word games. Because they're vegans, so of course they have to prove veganism is correct. So they ended up saying, how ethical are you?" So the answer is as ethical as a Nazi. That's their answer. They are as ethical as a Nazi. It still shows up that they're as
I think the Nazis are morally superior.
I'm not even talking about a scientific definition. It's just a definition uh, because morality according to them morality is subjective because I'm amoral. I stay away from discussing morality. You see where you end up. If you believe in that morality even subjectively exists, then you can only be as moral as the Nazis because the Nazis felt they're moral. Hitler gave up his life for his belief. So obviously Hitler thought he was moral, extremely moral. Hitler thought he was the most moral person in history. So
Yeah.
so you can if you're an ethical vegan, then you can only be as ethical as a Nazi. But they didn't like it, so they kept playing word games. Like my claim was veganism is is utter nonsense. So he kept asking me, okay, what's your definition of utter nonsense? I said, what do you mean? What's my definition? Look it up in the dictionary. So he said, yeah, usually I ask the person with whom I'm debating for a definition, but in this case, let's go look up nonsense. And he kept playing word games as if he doesn't understand what I'm saying. I told him, listen, I don't care what the definition is. I've tried understanding veganism since I first heard of it, and I still don't know what it means. I don't know what it means. If I had to
Can
be
you can you tell us what it means? Because I'm a bit confused as well.
I still
Like,
don't know what it.
what does it mean to be a vegan?
Yeah, I still don't know. I can't help you on that front.
It's like a bit annoying. Like, if if they're like so passionate about the subject of veganism, why can't you tell me what it means?
Either that, or when they finally tell you, like the other day, I was debating a vegan. Nothing makes sense about their veganism. So it doesn't make sense. And look, if you talk to someone and what they're saying doesn't make sense, and they're pretending like, oh, I'm not debating you. Oh, if they say something like that, then you should just end the conversation. Okay, you're not debating me, then fine. That's like winning with. That's like declaring you lost with extra steps. Fine, it's whatever. Then fine. You're not debating, then you're disengaging. It's rule number 9. I was once on a server. Rule number 9. If you disengage from a debate, then you're banned from the server. Rule number 9. So everybody kept quoting rule number 9.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, it's like I have proposition 90. Oh, it happens to be a multiple of that. Proposition 90. A proper proposition is a scientific proposition. Anyway, let's finish just reading the comments. We've been here for 2 hours and 20 minutes, so we need to finish up. I need to run to the
Yeah,
bathroom. If you want to do something else after, we can do. But let's finish.
yeah.
So I'm listening. He says here, I'm listening to you talk about love. Sadly, there's so many toxic, narcissistic people out there now. So I think I explained that. So it's you just need
Don't
to.
don't
Mhm.
don't you think vegans, if they're saying that they want to reduce all the suffering, don't you think this is like it's just inconsistent? Like, if you want to reduce all the suffering because you don't like the animals dying, well, what about if like viruses and bacteria and all of that? What if they evolve sentient so that they can suffer as well? Wouldn't vegans want to like remove all of those organisms as well?
Yes, I actually claim
Or,
one of my propositions is that vegans want to destroy the universe, not even destroy life, destroy the universe, so that there's never any chance. It's not just the universe, all universes, the multiverse, so that there's never a chance for any life to ever evolve. But I would argue it's not even life, because a self-replicating molecule can, it can suffer. What if it gets duplicated incorrectly and malfunctions? Isn't that
and
suffering?
what about matter as well?
Yeah.
You're like a scientist. There's this thing called abiogenesis, where matter or non-life evolves to life. Like, so wouldn't they want to like eliminate all matter as well, so
Yes.
that doesn't evolve to,
Yes.
it's just a bit.
Yes. So when I inhale oxygen, I combine it. I break the two oxygens and I combine each one with two carbons. So it's oh, sorry. I take the two oxygens. I combine it with a carbon. So it's, yeah, CO2. Like, isn't that hurting the oxygen? The oxygen didn't want to be, like, I'm raping the oxygen. The oxygen didn't want to be with the carbon. I'm force raping them. Oops, we shouldn't say. We should. Oh, it's a joke. No, no, we shouldn't say that. We should say we're forcing them to be together. We're forcing them. We're like that's abuse. They don't want to be together. We force them together. Or the plants. The plants, they split the carbon from the dioxide, but the carbon decided they want to be with with the dioxide, and the plant did such harm, brought such harm to the carbon dioxide to split them in two. He basically murdered the plant. Murders the carbon dioxide because he split it in two. Bad plant, very bad plant. We should
Mhm.
execute all plants. Anyway, of course, it's completely nonsensical. The whole thing is nonsensical. It's fine. People, look, we can discuss the theory of why people are vegans another day. Let's continue. All right, another comment by Chris Semenko. He's right on about us having to pay them just to live. But I'm not saying you have to. No one is forcing you to pay a girl to live or live with you. It's a privilege for you to find a chick that is willing to have you pay for her and have for you to have her as yours. That's a privilege. The f- you can have money and still not be able to get chicks. Having money is not going to help you. Like I have money. It doesn't mean that I can get a chick because I have money. What is money? How is money going to help me? All the money's in the bank. You think the chick knows I have money in the bank? And what good is the money? I mean, the chick has no idea. She's not gonna cling on to me. I'm not gonna walk down the street and she's gonna know. I don't have a halo on my forehead saying I have money or don't have money. That chick doesn't know. There's a guy who's literally he tests his pickup ability. So in one of the YouTube videos, he pretended to be homeless. He was on the sidewalk with like a blanket, and a chick, a beautiful chick, walks by, and he picks her up and bangs her. I don't remember if he ended up banging, but certainly picked her up, took her number as a homeless guy. It's good.
Wow.
So it's not good. Look, if you, the question is, do you? At the end of the day, you look. You're gonna you want to have a chick in the long run. Whatever. I mean, you don't need money as long as you know how to game. And by game, I mean keep a girl in the long run. If that's what you want, but you need to learn. You need, it's scientific. It's experiential. You really, it's you need to learn how to do it. So one way is to watch a lot of pickup, and another way is to test. You can learn a lot, but you also need to test it because you're going to be a little bit different than every teacher. So you need to develop your own theory about how to pick up chicks and what
Uh-huh.
type of chicks. So it's not, no one, you don't have to pay. No one is forcing you to pay. It's that's not how it works. I enjoy paying. Why are you laughing?
No, I'm just laughing at the comment.
Right. Wait, but what is funny about which comment? This
I'm
comment?
listening to you.
Mhm.
Sorry, lol, slaves, dry jokes.
I have dry jokes. I didn't. He need Woody Johnson. If you're listening, you need to tell us which dry joke. I don't remember. I usually don't say dry jokes. Maybe I'm dry. I don't. I usually don't have dry jokes. What dry joke? I don't know. Maybe because of Jesus, the way I said about Jesus, the Jesus scientific theory about suffering in women and birth. Maybe that's what he's referring to. It wasn't a joke. I was just being scientific about Jesus's offering us a scientific theory. Anyway, so he's right on about us having to pay them just to live. I didn't say that you have to. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to live. No one is forcing you to do anything. Chicks are not going to force you to do anything. But it's a privilege to have a chick by your side, and then you can pay if you have some money, but you could be poor and tell her, look, I'm poor. And if she still likes you because you're poor, even though you're poor, for whatever reason, you can be dirt poor and find a chick that's going to love you because she likes a poor kid like you. Who knows? Everything exists. This universe is huge. There's 10 billion people running on this planet right now. There's going to be weird ones of every type. So there's going to be weird chicks. Like imagine, like usually chicks, they like, some chicks like the opposite of what they experienced at home. So a really wealthy chick, she's actually she might be repelled from other wealthy kids, and she's going to want to hang out with a poor kid. That will be what turns her on.
Yeah.
Just that you're poor, just that will turn her on. The fact that every time she says, why don't you pay, and you'll tell her, but I have no money, that will get her panties wet. You never know.
Um,
Why not? Why not? Maybe her rich dad was abusive, and now she every time she sees a rich kid, she wants to throw up, and she sees a poor kid, she she yearns for that. She yearns for the love of a poor kid. Who knows?
That has to be rare, bro.
Fine, fine. So let it be rare, but approaching chicks is rare. Approaching gorgeous drop dead knockout chicks is rare. Those chicks never get approached. And certainly when these chicks are approached, no one treats them like a human. They're treated like they're some sort of deities that you cannot function when they're around. So imagine that you function like a normal human being next to a drop dead gorgeous chick, a drop dead knockout, and you blow her mind because like the chick wrote to me last night. She said, "I've never had like I don't remember." She said, "I rarely or ever." She said, "I'm not used to this. Like usually when men approach me, like they're dysfunctional. I cannot have an intellectual conversation." And with you, it was such a stimulating conversation the whole night. It just blew her mind. How could that be? It's like, and to her, it's like I'm in control. To her, it means I'm super strong. Because what is strength? That, right? That is strength. Strength, like, imagine you're poor and she's rich and you just don't care. You're like nonchalant about you being poor. And she's like, wow. Like, poor people usually stop being able to talk near me just because I'm a rich, gorgeous chick. And suddenly you're a poor, ugly kid and you treat her like one of the guys. And she's like, wow, that is so refreshing. And then she knows you're going to be her. You're going to be with her. You're not going to leave her because you're not like you don't have to work hard to be with her. That's one of the things she's looking for. One of the signs chicks look for when they mate select, as we say in evolutionary psychology, they want to see that you're not expending energy to be with her. Like if she sees that you're going out of your way, you're not yourself. If she notices you're not yourself, she's gonna get turned off. She's not gonna know why. She's just gonna say, "Listen, we're not a good match." She's not gonna know why, but you cannot expand energy to be with a chick. It has to be completely fun for you. You have to just enjoy yourself. You have to enjoy the conversation. Like me and this chick, like I just enjoy talking to her because she finally somebody's listening to me about all the nonsense I have to spout. And she's just enjoying all the nonsense finally. So for me, I'm having a good time. For her, she enjoys just hearing trivial stuff. It's like it's fantastic. Everybody's happy. So anyway, let's continue. Last comment. So your guest is very patient man. Read between my guest, meaning
I don't know. Read between my lines.
like
What?
Gnostic. He's saying Jostic, Gnostic
What?
Judas. So you're patient, right? He
I
says.
was.
Oh,
Why
wait.
did? Okay, sure.
Your
Well,
guest
thank
is.
you.
Wait, did I skip? No, I didn't skip. Your guest is very patient. I guess a very patient man. Read between the so. Oh, because I'm talking so much and I'm not letting you speak.
What?
I don't know.
No, it's
I
fine.
don't know. He didn't. I don't know. No, but that's just another. I would say that's just another chemistry thing. Like me and you, we have a chemistry that you're interested to hear what I have to say about certain things. I love hearing what you have to say about philosophy because I never read philosophy. I don't know. I don't speak Discord. You speak Discord. You know all these long words and the history of all these men that spoke before me. So I love hearing what you have to say, and I love testing my theories against you to see if they stick. So I
I
think,
speak Discord. It's funny, man.
yeah, that's a thing I invented the last couple of days. You speak Discord. I don't speak Discord. That's the first thing I tell people
No.
in a debate. Like when they start saying all these long words, like I don't speak Discord. Like bring it to earth, please. Whatever you want to say. Anyway, so what do you think about everything I said?
Yeah, it's good.
Really?
Useful. Well, what do you want me to say?
No, we started the conversation. You said like you weren't happy. I think you were unhappy.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah,
Are you more unhappy, less unhappy, same unhappy?
I'd say my condition has improved
Your condition?
from like my well-being has improved from the conversations.
Your what? Your well-being?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
not
Amazing.
bad.
And I just shared with you exactly how I feel about the universe. I didn't pretend anything. Like like
Yeah,
y-
no.
like
I
you
mean,
said that you want to end it and I said fine. That's if that's who you are,
oh yeah, yeah. I still think I do, but yeah,
it's
it's
fine.
good.
It's completely, that's the first thing. Our first conversation was, the door is open. But unfortunately, it's usually a one-way door. It's like if you exit, usually you don't make it back. Men, women
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
fail. Women, when they exit, they usually come back. They don't get it right. They're not good at that.
Oh,
Men,
I didn't know about that.
yeah, it's like much more men end it than women, but much more women try than men. They're not good at it. Because men, when they do it, they're like, well, they get it right. They're just good at it. Women, they try, they just fail. They try a lot more. Their lives, you think so. I was gonna tell you, you think you have it hard. So I told you, yeah, women, it's easy mode. That's not true because I am with a lot of beautiful women because when I hang out with women, it's the drop dead gorgeous ones. So I know everything, and I'm like, if I'm a slave, so I'm like their best friend. So I know everything about their lives. Their lives are horrible. Like beautiful chicks are poor. They don't know how to save money. They know how to make money, but they don't know how to save money. So they're dirt poor. Their lives are miserable in that terms. They just don't know what's happening, and men abuse them and they don't know how to navigate these waters, so they give up on men. So a lot of these chicks are single. They're like just like you. So
Uh,
yeah,
it's hard to believe that.
it's look.
Like, I
I,
guess,
so
I guess to call them, I guess to use like Discord. It's called femcells.
that's the way it is. like like
That's just
look.
really
What?
unintuitive to me. It's just unintuitive that there can be women who cannot get any guys. That's like really weird.
But the guys use them, abuse them, and dump them because these guys have multiple chicks. So these guys don't commit, and these girls, who do they have in their lives? Think of who is in this industry. It's the worst people who are in the industry of models and beauty pageants. It's the most disgusting men. These are the men in their lives. Or I mean, it's I mean, think of it. Anyway, it's just the way it is. I mean, that's what I noted.
I think the women are worse
Women are worse than what?
than the worst men.
No. I don't say somebody's good or bad. I'm just saying, everybody. I don't know what you mean. It's difficult to measure. It's difficult to compare. Like I don't know how to compare. It's like women don't want sex. Women, right? How do we know women don't want sex in general? Because if you want to have sex with a woman, you pay her. And men, we know they want sex because men pay for sex. So men pay for something, women get money for something, that's just almost the definition of somebody wanting something and somebody doesn't want it. It's like you will not go to work at McDonald's unless they pay you. You're not gonna go volunteer to clean McDonald's bathrooms unless they pay you. Well, that means you
I think
don't.
there's an. I think you can interpret that differently. I think you can say, if you're good at something, never do it for free. So the women they're exploiting the fact that we are going to pay money to get what we want.
Okay, but y- look, I don't know what you mean, but so okay, let's analyze.
Should I
Let's
explain more?
analyze. What?
Okay.
Let's
Should I
analyze.
explain more?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't
yeah.
get it.
So what let me try and see what. Okay, so I gave you my theory of what it means to want versus not want. So how do we know? So this is called revealed preferences in economics. So how do we know if somebody wants something? We cannot just believe them when they say I want something. In order to know that somebody wants something, rev- you have to have revealed preference. You have to have a test and see that indeed they revealed their preference. So one way is you give up money, which is a good, and you receive the other thing. That means you value the other thing more than the money because you gave up the money. Because you're rational, that means you prefer the sex more than the money. So you want the sex more than the money. Whereas the chick, she prefers like she doesn't do it unless she's paid for it. So again, she's revealing her preference that she would rather not do it. For her, it's a bad. When you need to receive money for something, then it reverses the definition, it becomes a bad. So for a woman in general, sex is a bad, whereas for men, sex is a good. So, by definition of goods and bads, women prefer women. I mean, men prefer sex and women don't. Women don't prefer sex. They view it as a bad in general. So now you're saying something else. You're saying women. Okay, so explain to me what your theory is.
My theory was that uh, we can account for the data differently than you. Just because women are getting paid for sex, it doesn't mean that we have to interpret that as they wouldn't have sex without getting paid for it. Another way to interpret it is that they are taking advantage of the fact that they can make a living off of having sex.
Okay,
Is
but
that too?
hold on. So I gave you a very scientific, a very economic analysis to say something like to take advantage. That I don't. What's your definition of like everything I said? We can scientifically define. It has been. It's like very economics language.
Well, we can expect scientifically that uh, what's the term you used of
Rationality.
uh yeah, the rationality principle that people are going to act in a way which like betters their situation,
Sure.
okay, and making money. We can
Sure.
expect that that's going to better your situation. So
Sure.
scientifically,
Hmm.
you can expect uh if people are understand this information that they're going to continue being in the industry in order to make money.
Right. So you're making so you're not contradicting me, you're just making another prediction. So you're not contradicting because what I said is just definitions. You're not disagreeing with that. You're adding on top of that, you're saying, well, since we assume rationality and women, now let's see, how can we, like, you're saying some women will choose to do it, right? Because there is still a price to pay. Not all women do it, and not even all women that do it all the time, and not with everyone, because there's still a price to pay. Because you have to go to a stranger's house. That's dangerous. Society might find out. Other women will shame you. That's dangerous. Other men will find out. That's dangerous. You're going to lose points. So it comes at a cost. So at the end of the day, I would say very few women choose to use this advantage. And the women that I know end up paying a price, because then they get into a relationship with a normie, because these are usually normie chicks, and the normie guy finds out, and it's a complete disaster. And I've, like, my ex mistress, she ended up with a normie, and it was very difficult. I don't want to, I shouldn't talk about them, but it was very challenging. I should not mention them because she's completely off the grid now. But it's very painful. It's very painful. So to say
Off the
that,
grid. Oh,
of the, of that universe. So look, it's easy. Like, you look from the side and you're saying, if I were a chick, I would do it. But the fact is, very few chicks do it, and there's a reason for that. There is a price to pay. It doesn't come at no cost.
okay, okay. So there's a there's a okay. One sec. Let
So
me make
so
sure I get
most
the.
most beautiful chicks end up working at McDonald's rather than doing that, and end up just being a cashier, and end up just being sale. What, they'll do anything. Most chicks would not choose to do that, by far, by far, by far, by far. Most chicks would not do it, and if they would, it would be really expensive. That, it ends up that very few chicks do it, and I
It's a good it's a good argument you're making because I remember this thing in when I was studying. I'll tell you what it's called, and then I'll expand. I don't want to just say that's what it's called. I'll not explain. It's called hedonistic calculus. So it's basically what you're saying. It's just saying that when people act, they weigh the benefits and consequences of the action. So if the reward is better than the risk, then they're going to do it.
Mhm,
But if the risk is too high and the reward is high as well, they're not going to do it because they can lose more if they fail.
mhm,
So, upon this, we can expect women to weigh the risks and the rewards from having sex and, the clubbing and all of that. And it's quite high the risk, like you've said as well.
mhm.
So, the fact that they are in the industry just means that the reward is so high. So, they wouldn't be doing it
It's
if the reward wasn't so high.
right. I would just say it's an optimization. Like, every choice you make in life is an optimization. Optimization is when, basically, when you weigh pro versus cons. So, or cost benefit analysis. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's
and
what it is. Cost benefit
um,
analysis. Yeah.
and it's a very difficult choice, because once a chick does it, that's it. It's forever. If ever this comes up, it will forever be known, and the internet doesn't forget. So 10 years from now, her kid is going to come home, and his friends are going to say, we saw pictures, we read, and it's forever. And there's, it's to clean your name. If you're born with a clean name, and that's a one-way ticket, that's it. Once it gets dirty, it's forever dirty. You're not gonna wash your name after that. It's like, so it's not so simple. This choice for women is not so simple, and women are aware of men like you judging them, so they're even more careful and more. fearful of being exposed and being online. So you think chicks have it so easy? I have many chicks in my life, relatively, and none of them is having a good time. None of them. I mean, they're all challenged one way or the other. I cannot tell you that chicks in general have a better life than men. I would have to go and I don't know. I think in general, men are the in my experience, from what I've seen in general, men are bigger assholes, and women stay with these assholes and suffer. But I think women are designed to just survive this suffering. Women don't get up and leave just as soon as they suffer. They suffer quietly and they carry on because they have kids and they don't just get up and leave. So this claim that women monkey branch and they're gonna leave at the snap of a finger when they see somebody better, that's nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. And women cheat. That's not true. I need to see scientific evidence. In my experience, absolutely not true. Some women, yeah, but they're transparent about it. I have women that in my circles that that they are multi-amorous. What do you call it? Something multi-amorous.
Polyamorous.
Polyamorous, yeah, they're polyamorous, and it's a community, and it's fine. But okay, I mean, but it's okay. I mean, I guess I not that I have anything against polyamory. I mean, the whole thing of men and women together is not natural. That's like from 10,000 years ago. That's like from the Neolithic Revolution. We didn't have couples as nomads. Nomads don't have couples, as far as I know. Nomad. That's why they have no word for mom, because
It was polygamy, right?
it's not even, no, it's not polygamy. No, it's like chimps. Chimps is not polygamy. Chimps, chimps. There is no alpha in the chimps. Chimps, there is a few men, a few more women, and that's a troop. And if there's all the women usually stay, but not all the men. Men are kicked out because a troop doesn't want to grow too big, because then, like, the men don't like sharing, but it's not a single man. Now, why is it not a single man? It's because troops fight. Chimps are smart. Well, I don't know if they're smart, but chimps fight. Troops fight. They go to wars, actual wars. We did not invent war. We inherited the notion of a war directly from chimps. I think that's maybe why it's called a troop of chimps, because they go to war like a troop. So troops of chimps fight to the death. They kill everyone from the other troop. And I don't even know if they take over the territory. So in order to win in a war, you need men. So you cannot dispose of all the men. You can't be one alpha with few chicks. You're gonna lose the next war because the men are double the size of the females in chimps. So
Oh,
you need to create a coalition of men and of males and females. So you need to have at least a few males with you, but you don't want to have too many because then you're not going to be having too much sex. So you have to balance it. And the men that you dispose of they're called satellites or orbiters. Then they leave the troop, but they hang around the troop. And guess what they do?
I don't know.
So we'll leave that for
Look,
next time. It's almost 3 hours. We need to stop. Otherwise, I'm going to give you all the answers to all the questions.
okay. I'm gonna read the Why Evolution is True book on my shelf.
Well, you can do that. That's good. You can read a book why evolution is false. You'd probably get the same information. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. You should read both.
Yeah, that's a good idea. To be fair.
Yeah.
Do you believe in evolution?
Yes, I don't know of a better scientific theory. I don't even think there is a competing scientific theory for evolution.
Do you think it's literally like 1-to-1 ratio true, or do you just think it's usefully true
No,
or approximately
it
true?
is evolution is the only scientific theory, so it is the best. Being the only is the best scientific theory. Best is actually undefined because it has no competition. Population is one, so you cannot say best. But it's our only scientific theory that we have for evolution. It's not. I mean, for evolution. I mean, there seems to have been evolution, but you could say for life, for the diversity of life. But Darwin didn't invent evolution. They tried to explain evolution by different means. His theory was evolution by means of natural selection. They knew how to create evolution by means of artificial selection. They knew how to create all sorts of animals and fruits and vegetables by means of artificial selection. They just didn't know how it could work by means of natural selection. So he just explained evolution by means of natural selection. He did what you might think of as a very, very little job to do, but it was still a big challenge. But they already knew a lot before it got to him, before it came to his contribution to science.
Hmm.
So it's actually
Okay.
right the evolution of the theory of evolution by itself is fascinating
Yeah, I
because
know.
theories in general evolve, like science itself evolves, and you can study evolution even if you don't believe in evolution of species. You still can believe in evolution of science. You can still believe in the evolution of furniture. You can believe in evolution of cars, of iPhones,
Language, language.
of language. So you can, even though if you believe in the Bible says that in the Tower of Babylon or whatever, that's where languages came into existence. So it's up to you. That's again. So if you believe in evolution of language, that's a contradiction to the evolution of language according to the story of the Bible. It all happened at once. But still, the Bible agrees all the languages came out of one language. Like they all spoke. It literally says that in the Bible, that they all spoke one language. And they said, let's build a tower and let's go become gods or something. So it literally says they spoke one language. So according to the Bible knew that they all came, but the Bible is also correct that in the beginning there was one man, because evolutionarily we know there was one Adam and one Eve. So
Yeah.
genetically speaking, or something. Anyway, let's stop here because we've been talking for a long time. So let me know when you want to talk again.
Okay.
All right, man.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Thank you.